thing that is made up of only Tejas atoms. Hence, it can take Rupa. So Rupa can be taken in only through I, not something else, because Rupa is available only in Tejas atoms and only I is made up of Tejas atoms. That is how they are linked to the Indriyas. So the Panchabhutas and Panchendriyas and Panchagunas, they are all linked with each other like this. And our skin is made up of Vayu and tongue, Rasa, all these are there. Okay, now the example I want to give is, just before getting into that example, I just want to mention, there are these three things which you might have heard, Abhida, Lakshana, Vyanjana. Abhida is a very denotational thing. You just point to something, just speak out its name. This is a laptop, this is a table, this is a chair, this is Abhida. A word just pointing to the object directly, that is Abhida. Lakshana is kind of a metaphor. Like when we say someone is like a lion, we are not really literally saying he has 4 legs and a mane and all these things. We are basically saying some aspects of life. Maybe he is very courageous, or maybe his roar, his voice is like a roar of a lion. Whatever that is, some kind of metaphor we are drawing, some kind of simile. Vyanjana is elliptical. Elliptical means something is said by not saying it. For instance, you might have heard this joke in many films, like two people are conversing, one is irritated with the other, say A is irritated with B and he tells B, I don't speak with idiots. B replies, but I do. So he is indirectly saying you are an idiot and I am speaking to you, but he is not directly saying you are an idiot. If he says that, it will become Abhida. But he is only saying but I do, and that is conveying all the meaning which one wants, that you are an idiot. That is a Vyanjana. A lot of Vyangya is there, satire. So Vyanjana is coming there. Now, one way of saying how art is different from other works is art should be more rich of Lakshana and Vyanjana. It should not be direct. If it is direct, it's like a lecture like this. Oh, this is not direct. So whenever you want to encode something, so basically in art we encode many things. We encode ideas. Ideas, like we speak of mental thing and public thing, mental and material, private and public. So the private ideas we encode in public domain. So there needs to be an encoding mechanism. Every art has to take recourse to some encoding mechanism. Idea is non-material. It doesn't have a shape or anything. I give a shape. I give some volume through whatever material means I use. So it is necessary that every artist uses some material medium, but it is also necessary that they have to hold on to some non-material idea which they can put out in that medium. So there is a kind of encoding happening and an audience will decode it. This is what is happening. Now, in Vedas, there is a description of Vrishabha. We all know Nandi is one form of Vrishabha, and Vrishabha itself is one form of Purusha, which comes in Push Sukta. And this Vrishabha is described in a very enigmatic way. Like it is said that this Vrishabha stands on 3 legs, it has 7 hands, it has 2 heads, it has 4 horns, and it is tied at 3 places. Now this is the description of Vrishabha they give. Now the question is, okay, what kind of entity is this? What is it a bull, or if it is a bull, what is it like this? It is a mythical bull, or what is this? And why are they describing something like this? Such an entity, does it exist or not? One of the readings of that is that this description is of nothing but sound. They are actually describing nothing but sound. Why? The 3 legs on which sound stands are the past tense, present tense and future tense. The 7 hands which it has are the 7 vibhaktis, because these are like the prepositions which connect 2 things. They are like hands which connect 2 things. And the 2 faces which they have are Kari Shabda and Karan Shabda, because one word can be a cause of another word. And the 4 horns which they have are different levels of manifestation of sound. Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikhari. What we speak verbally is Vaikhari. The unmanifested sound is Para. In between there is Pashyanti and Madhyama. And the 3 places where it is tied are the places of origination of sound. There are 2-3 different schools here. Some say the 3 places it is tied are Nabi, Hrid, Kantha. Some others say Nabi, Hrid, Mastishka. So now this is a kind of metaphorical representation of sound as Vrishabha. So when we say Vrishabha has 3 legs and 7 hands and all these things, this is like a Lakshana. You are giving a Lakshana of sound. Now this can be actually found actually in artwork when you see Nandi in the temple. Some of these aspects at least. Because Nandi is a form of Vrishabha, and when you see, most of you would have noticed 3 of its legs are folded and 1 leg is open. It is to indicate that it is standing only on 3 legs. The 4th leg is not touching the ground. And it is tied at 3 places. Usually you may see sometimes 2 knots are at least visible on the back and on the head. Third one may not be visible everywhere. The way they show it has 2 faces. There are 2 ways in which they show. They can sculpt it in such a way that body is like of one bull and head is of another bull, or they can sculpt twice the number of teeth of an actual bull to say that it has 2 faces. So it is encoded in various ways. Now one should ask all these questions. Why are 3 legs folded and 1 is rising? Does it have a back pain or something? You can't, you need some explanation. Na? This explanation is not a physical explanation. You should not look at it as a physical bull.
Does the swaram, like Vrishabha, the swaram also have some characteristics like this?
Maybe Vrishabha and Rishabha, how related are they? We should think. Maybe related or may not be, I don't know. But this is Vrishabha.
Okay.
That is Rishabha. That question is there, yeah. Even I don't know, but that question is there.
No, it is there.
Yeah, that is one thing. So now the interesting question is, if Nandi is sound, then what is Shiva? What can ride on sound? Okay, keep this question with you. There is another thing I want to point out. If you consider Patanjali cycle, which is half human and half snake, again the question comes, why half human and half snake? Why should one be represented like that? Just now I said there are various ways of encoding things, Abhida, Lakshana, Vyanjana. Suppose I want to encode something like smell. If I want to encode directly, I will write smell, S-M-E-L-L there. Or I may put some, some very good picture of a nice food, hot baked food. Or some other way. Similarly, if I want to represent sound, Abhida is I can write sound, S-O-U-N-D. Lakshana is maybe I can put an ear there, or I can put a drum or an instrument there to indicate, it is indicating sound. But one of the readings of Patanjali's icon is that it is one of the highest epitomes of a Vyanjanatmak way of capturing sound. Why? Because it is indicating not any of the specific features of the human there or a snake there, but it is highlighting the difference between the two. What is the difference between the two? Sound. There is one sense organ which snake does not have, which human has. That is ear. That is sound. So, without speaking of sound, they are actually speaking of sound through Patanjali cycle. It is a Vyanjanatmak way of speaking of sound. Now one may ask, how do you know this reading is right? For this, we are bringing in other context to support this reasoning. One is, Patanjali is someone who wrote Mahavashya, which is a commentary on Panini's Ashtadhyayi, which itself is a text on grammar of sounds. And this Patanjali icon you will find at every nook and corner of this temple called Chidambaram. Chidambaram itself, the term if you see, Chit Ambaram or Chidakash, it is actually speaking of the space of consciousness. And that is also the place where we have something called Akashalinga. And Akasha's special quality is sound. Given all these things put together, this reading seems coherent. So the more coherent, the more supportive things you have, it's not an historic decoding. We didn't go to see any text or anything like that. It's the concepts which themselves are guiding the thought. Now, coming back to the question, what may be Shiva? What rides on sound? One of the possibilities is Shiva is Artha. meaning. What right sound sound, meaning right sound sound. Another reason for calling Shiva as Artha, again, like we just said, if you want to read a text, you shouldn't stay within the text. You need to take literature outside the text also. And you all might know of this Kalidasa Sloka, Vagadha, Samprukta, Vagadha Pratipatti, Jagata Pitaro, Vande Parvati Parameshwara. Vak and Artha, which are never separable.
Word and meaning.
Yeah, sound and meaning. It is to them that the parents of the universe, I am going to them and they are like Vak and Artha who are never separable. Now in this, Vak is like Parvati and Shiva is like Artha. So from this also we are kind of getting a connotation that Shiva is Artha. From Nandi being sound as a vehicle, there also we can get a connotation that Shiva is Artha. Now we are not reducing to Shiva, we are not saying Shiva is this only. In this story, he fits to be this. And similarly, who is Nataraja? One who dances in the space of consciousness. What all things dance in our consciousness? Many things, thoughts, feelings, imagination, all these things. These all dance in the space of consciousness. So maybe Nataraja is these things and he is given an icon like that. So it's only giving an example that whatever we see there encoded in that sculpture, architecture, whatever it is, they are speaking of these deep concepts about reality. They were doing a deep inquiry of the relation between macrocosm and microcosm. This is what one reading is. So yeah, I have to wrap up. If you want to add, you can add it.
See, one thing I want to make a point here is,
so don't see them as physical human or physical bull or anything like that. Try to go beyond that sculpture which is on the surface. It is saying something more deeper about reality as such. That's the idea. Also, this Vayulinga which is there, Bhakta Kannappa story, we all know Kannappa has put his foot to position where he is going to put his second eye on the Shivalinga. So there the most important thing is touch. And it is that same linga which is called Vayulinga. And touch is the most defining aspect of voice. So one can see some are decodable, some are not yet decoded, but such a reading is possible and they seem more coherent than trying to imagine, okay, maybe there were beings who were half humans and half snakes, we don't see them today. That is a stupid reading and that is doing injustice to them. That's all we are trying to say. So it is very much related to quest of reality, which you will see in many artworks, particularly Indian arts, whatever it is, painting, sculpture, architecture, etc. That's the, yeah.
one of the important things perhaps it is a combination of all the five. It has the combination of all the five elements in it. Water also has all the five. As a sand you take it has all the five. But this is the exact understanding of Panchabhuta in the context of technical terms. This is how we are supposed to understand. Anyway, that's I just want to highlight it.
You please give us one brief book by Vaiseshika.
Vaiseshika. So the way different schools are, describing different number of arcades for reality, Vaiseshika has 7 basic arcades: Dravya, Guna, Karma, Samanya, Visesh, Samvaya, Prabhav. So it is the school which is more close to common sense experience. If you take Advaita or anything, it is more removed from common sense experience. They say this is all Maya, but that is of no help to me. I need to live in this world. I need to carry on my life. So you better give me how this Maya world works, rather than just saying this is Maya. Even if it is Maya, it has a pattern, it has some rules. Give me those rules, so that I will understand and work in this Maya better.
The
Functioning, yeah. So in that sense, if you take all the Indian schools, they seem to be removed from our immediate experience. Vaiseshika is something which is very close to our experience. It says, okay, there are substances, and each of these substances have qualities, and you can perform actions on these substances, and these substances can be grouped into classes. They are universals or samanya, and you will see some relation called inherence, that something is inherent in something, like solidity is inherent in solids, liquidity is inherent in liquids. So there is a relation called samvaya. And then there is a entity called absence. Absence is also one entity. And they speak of 4 kinds of absence. Something is absent till it comes into existence. That is called pragabhav. And it becomes absent after it is destroyed. That is called pradvamsabhav. And though 2 things are present right now, one is absent in the other. That is called anyonya bhav. And something never comes into being at all. That is called atyanta bhav. So there are various, so they describe world, they have their own rules and relations among these categories.
It draws from Buddhism?
No, it is independent. It is by one sage called Kanada.
Huh?
Kanada. Kanada means one who eats atoms.
Oh.
Ulluka, his another name is Ulluka. He walks only in the night.
Oh.
So owl is a very interesting thing for Vaiseshika. Nyaya and Vaiseshika are actually sister schools. Nyaya, which is of Gautama Muni, and Vaiseshika, they are sister schools. Yeah. So in fact, Nyaya is also interesting in the sense they have 16 categories, and these 16 categories are categories of analysis. Analysis in the sense they speak of, okay, praman, pratyaksh, pramay, anuman, upaman, all kinds of things. They also have one category which is called katha, means what kinds of debates one can have. So they say there are 3 kinds of debates. One is vada, where 2 people are debating with each other with the sole intention of discovering the truth. There is nothing like winning or losing. The second one is jalpa. Jalpa is by hook or crook, I just want to win. I am not worried about truth, I just want to win. So that is jalpa. Third one is vitanda. Vitanda is I don't have a stand of my own, but I just want to prove that you are wrong. So this is called vitanda, which you might have heard many times. You just say you are wrong, you are wrong, you are wrong. If someone asks you what is the answer, don't ask me, ask him. Something like that. So these 3 things they discuss, and also they also discuss when 2 people are debating, what are the conditions of losing a debate. They speak of 21 such conditions. These are called nigrasthanas. Something like, suppose I have an argument, I have a premise which I want to establish. Now, if I change my premise in between, then I am lost. Or, if I start with a premise to begin with, and I deny that I have started with that premise, even then I am lost. Another way is, suppose I give an argument to you, you are unable to understand it. Then I am supposed to repeat it thrice. Even after repeating thrice, if neither you understand nor the audience understand, then I have lost. But after repeating thrice, if the audience understands but you don't understand, then you have lost. So they give many such rules of losing a debate. So they have worked extensively on what is the terminology, what are the ways of perceiving reality, what are the means of knowledge, what are the varieties of debates one can have, what are the conditions under which one can lose a debate.
It will be like rhetorics of Plato.
Little bit, but rhetoric is also about persuading the other about your point.
Yeah.
Here, they don't take any stand that the goal of Nyaya is about persuasion. It will be one of the aspects of discussion and debate and all that.
Sorry, 1 minute. Key, you have room key, 201.
201, yeah.
Oh, okay. So this thing has come or
We are waiting.
waiting?
So after all this thing, which school do you subscribe to?
Actually, for my research work, I subscribe to Vaiseshika.
Okay.
But